Joining me now is David Hawkins. He's the editor of The Fulcrum, and he joins us each week to break down some of the big stories going on. And this week in Washington, we have a break coming up for Memorial Day, but there's a lot of work that has to be done before Congress can go on break.
That's right. They have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of decisions to make. They have to put aside, in theory, all the drama about impeachment, about the president's the leftover Mueller report, the witnesses, the subpoenas, and they've actually got some legislative obligations to fulfill. This is the time of the year when it's budget season. In theory, Congress should be passing budget bills to get ready for the start of the fiscal year in October. And yet they still don't have an agreement on how much money totally to spend. Unless they come up with such an agreement, they're going to face some budget caps that nobody really likes. So they have to get the Republican Senate, the Democratic House, and the President to agree to raise those caps. They have to start talking about when and how much to raise the limit on federal borrowing, which sounds kind of wonky, but if they don't do it, there could be an economic calamity in the fall. And the president's big legislative idea for the year is a $2 trillion infrastructure package, public works package. He's supposed to come and tell Congress this week how he plans to pay for that, and that should really decide whether they're going to do that one at all.
Yeah, and some of his advisors already are being kind of skeptical, throwing cold water on the idea that some huge spending push will happen from the White House. So both sides, in some ways, need to come out as winners here, and that's really a challenge.
It is. That's what you want out of a negotiation, is both sides saying they got something, they gave something. A lot of Republicans don't think this is a good idea to spend all this money. They certainly don't want to raise taxes.
And when looking at the calendar year, you had an interesting point, and that is, in some ways, it mimics almost like a college calendar, where it's graduation season right now. Congress certainly isn't graduating, but they do have some big breaks coming up, and they do have a lot of work to do before they can hit the road for summer vacay.
Right, either college or in some cases high school.
Yeah.
They all arrive in January. It's like the start of the school year, and they're all friendly, and then the cliques form soon enough, and then they realize that they're procrastinating and they're way behind, and so they try and cram to get it done by the end of the semester. Sort of Memorial Day is sort of thought of as the first big semester. Then they come back, they work a lot in June and July, get ready for the second big break, which is the summer break. Then they come back in the fall, and they're looking at Thanksgiving and the end of the budget year. And time again, Congress procrastinates until the last minute, and they hope that last minute focuses the mind and they get deals done.
No. Deadlines, no greater inspiration than a deadline. All right, David, thank you so much. For more stories like these, you can sign up for The Fulcrum at thefulcrum.us.